I have always had this weird, where has it come from, fear of childbirth since I was a baby, like since I was a kid. Ever since I can remember thinking about childbirth, I've been terrified of it. And just no idea where that's come from, other than probably feeling like it was imprinted, from maybe my mum's birth, or maybe it's an ancestral thing in our biology. What's that science called? I can't remember what it's called, where those memories are there in your body.
In the epigenetics, like
epigenetics, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember mum ever telling me any terrifying stories of birth. I don't remember reading anything terrifying, but for some reason I was so scared. And so I knew we'd chatted many times before, you and I, about childbirth and our shared passion about supporting mums. And I knew that I was going to do she births, and kind of had really wanted to come to Australia and do it with you personally. But actually it was a bit of a blessing doing it online, because I was so overwhelmed by childbirth, and I don't usually feel fearful about anything in my life. I'm quite, not trying to big myself up, but I really don't feel fear a lot of the time about things. I'm very kind of a fearless person around many things, but for some reason this thing was the thing that really gripped me. And we watched it the first day, the online course. And after half an hour, I was like, okay, that's all I can manage today.
She had to microdose.
I microdosed. I went from just a few kind of random contractions to an hour later being 3 and 10, Lauren rang the midwife.
I texted her. Texted her. I had been texting her the timings of the contractions. I was really shocked at how
fast it was all going.
And I was texting her, keeping her up to date. And then when we really had some consistency of the 3 and 10 minutes, I texted her again and was like, I told her, Lauren, she's getting a little negative in the things that she's saying, and she hadn't been. She said she wants to go to the hospital, but she can't do it. It was sort of like a line in the sand when I was aware of when she starts saying, I can't do it, that we're progressing. And I wanted the midwife to understand we're at that point already.
Yeah.
And she said, what time was this? 10:30 at night? She said, okay, great. Well, I'm going to go to bed. You let me know when it's time. And I was horrified, because I thought my text would be enough to get her in the car and speeding her way over here because a baby's about to arrive. And instead she tells me she's going to bed. And now I had to relay that information to Lauren G, which was a challenge. So I got on the phone. I did relay it to
I think
you.
she rang you. Yeah, you did. And I was like,
oh no, that's right. I replied to Arlene. I said, can you just remind me, how will I know when it's time? Because I thought it was time.
I'm feeling it. Yeah.
So she rang me straight away and she said, would Lauren G like me to come and just do a check? And then, I can go home if appropriate. She doesn't live far from us. And if not, well, I can stay and we'll get going with it. And you were very happy with that approach, weren't you? So Arlene came. And do you want to talk about the way you greeted her?
She said to us previously that, oh no, she's not.
She said during one of our checkups, you'd said to Arlene, I might get a little bit crazy during the labor and say things that I think I want that I don't ultimately want.
Yeah.
How we sort of how are you going to manage me during that time? And Arlene said,
she's like, I'm not going to believe you in the middle of a contraction that you want an epidural. I'm going to see how you're feeling outside of it. And so she walked in on the night when you were in there, and she walked in and I just looked at her and I said, I've asked 3 times in between contractions that I could epidural. So I'm curious. But she said, would you just like me to check you? And we decided that we didn't want to be checked, but I knew that I might want to be checked once. Like, really, we hadn't been checked the whole way through pregnancy. I didn't want to stretch and sweep, didn't want any of that stuff, because, you know, when I'd previously been to get a smear test and stuff, I just found that I closed up a lot after experiences, and I didn't want to have that through birth. And so she did a check and she said, you're 5 centimeters dilated and your cervix is very, very thin and soft, and I could easily stretch you to 8, and the baby's head's right there. And I was disappointed because I thought surely I should be a 10.
I know this is the problem, the fixation. I have to make another video in She Births about like descent is more important than dilation, but that number, people love the centimeters and there's an obsession with that. It's really hard for the mind not to attach onto that.